Salve a tutti, sono Almarok e benvenuti in una nuova video intervista. Oggi siamo qui per intervistare Morten Von Shax, il cantante degli Endezzma e degli urgehal. Io prima di lasciarvi il video lo ringrazio per la sua grande disponibilità e per aver accettato di venirsi a fare 4 chiacchiere con noi. Vi auguro una buona visione e vi invito a mettere like.
Okay, hello, nice to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Almarok. I'm here with Morten, the lead singer from endezzma and the actually live singer from urgehal. Thank you for accepting this. Okay.
You're welcome. Thank you for doing the interview.
How you started to the music and talk me about the start of your career and you started with music. And why you chose to do music in your life?
Yeah, that's music. Have always been a big part of my life since I was a young boy. Actually, as early as age of 9 to 10 years old, I started picking up music, hard rock, heavy metal, and then I was extremely fascinated by the whole, just not only the music, but the whole thing, the whole package, you know, the whole, and I like that attitude, this punk attitude against society and against the establishment, and like this, you know, this rebellious thing with the heavy metal, and from there I just picked up music and started following more and more extreme bands, and because that fascinated me, actually the more extreme it was, the more interesting and fascinating, and then naturally went from heavy metal to speed metal, thrash metal, death metal, and then naturally picked up the black metal at the early 90s, and that fascinated me even more, and then I just was so soaked into it that I wanted to create music on my own, and I always been into like, I have artistic side with me. I like painting, music, and all this, so it was just naturally to form the band back in the school days. I think it first was like in 9th grade or something, and we started to do cover songs, and from there on we start making our own music and trying out. I guess it sound shit and crappy as fuck back then, but we, at least somewhere you got to start. So from there on, it's just the snowballed, and that's how I got into the band thing. That's the main road, I guess.
Well, you have known from your work with endezzma, and you have recently worked about a new album. Can you talk about it?
The Archer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we released Archer, Fuel, and the Thunder. It's how long is it now? 1.5 year. And yes, what to say? It's maybe our most worked through album, and due to the COVID time and everything, we got extra long time to work on it, because we was actually supposed to got it finished at right when the pandemic started, and then since everything was fucked up and it was not natural to bring out any releases then, and then we got some extra time for the mix and after work, and we just like I said, it was maybe one of our most worked through albums ever. So when we released it, we was very satisfied with what we achieved, and I think we reached maybe all our goals with the album back then, like how we wanted it to be, and it's sticking out from our catalog in a certain way, because it's marking and maybe a new direction for the band and going this painted a new scenery, a new landscape for the music, I think so, because the previous album before that, The Ark and Abyss, was maybe a more underground black metal album, sound wise and riff wise, and so we added a little bit more spices into the mix with the Archer album, but that's how we want it to be, to be like bigger, more monumental, and tell a story. It's the whole album is maybe more closer to being a concept album in that direction. It's like it's the lyrics and the philosophy of the album is like sticking together song by song, and I think it's a very united album song wise. So it's sticking out in that way, and yeah, what to say more? The production is maybe more distinctive and better. We used the Necromorbus studio for the mixing, and Tore Stjerna did an amazing job with it, and also got extra good time to work out with it since it was the pandemic time, and so it was good to sit back alone in the studio, and he had plenty of time with it. So yeah.
Becoming the new Urgehal singer, I was born ready to reform Urgehal after the death of Trond Nefes, and you worked with him. How you remember about this? About him?
About Trond? Or
yeah?
Yeah, well, first of all, I have 1 million memories of Trond. He's my close friend from early childhood on. So we, particularly from, well, I think we first met at the age of 13 or something, and from that on we was sticking together. We was like a very close circle of friends in my area. So we was hanging out pretty much all the time, and so he, like I said, he was my close friend, and I had, when I started endezzma, he was also a strong part of helping me out starting the band there. He was making most of the music for the first Alone EP and a lot of songs for the Erotic Necrosis album. And then we just planned, because since he had Urgehal running, we got in Malfas before he passed away actually, and then he would naturally focus on Urgehal, and then the plan was that it was just involving in the songwriting with endezzma. But then unfortunately he passed away. And then aside, of course, Urgehal, Encipher and Trondheim started Urgehal up, I think, back in 1992, 1993 or something, and that was Encipher is also naturally my close friend, and we was hanging out, and it's one way I just grew up with Urgehal, you know, from my city and with my friends, and they was signed to No Colors for the Arma Christi album, and yeah, I think they also released Massive Terrestrial Strike there. And then there was Without Label for a while. I don't know why. But then that was in a period when I was starting up my label, Flesh for Beast. And then I just said, okay, if you need a label, I have a label and I need bands, so why we don't work together? So then I started releasing Urgehal albums back. So then we released the Atomkinder EP, and then Through Thick Fog Till Death, later together with the Agonia record, like a co-release with them. So I worked first with Urgehal, like first there was my friend, and then I start releasing the band through my label. And I always, not because there was my friend, I always loved Urgehal, the music, the energy, everything about the music. So I was just a huge fan back then of the music too. And then later on, the Urgehal just grew and got bigger and bigger and played more and more. And then, unfortunately, when Trondheim passed away, tragically, then there was a natural break for the band, because Encipher didn't want to. First of all, it was just like this void right away after his death. You know, it was not natural to sit down and roll on in that period. It was like there was a few years with a smoky void in the local scene when Trondheim passed away, since he was like the solo Urgehal, and he had his fingers in endezzma, and he had Beastcraft and Angstquadron. He had so much things going on, so naturally there was a big empty hole left when he departed. So we needed time to sit down and figure out what to do. Back then, the music was not first priority anyway. But then it came to we wanted to do some anniversary concert. We had this Death is Complete gig with Urgehal, endezzma, and Beastcraft, just to honor his memory. And then we brought in all the vocalists from the last Urgehal album to sing their songs. So that was quite a thrill and an amazing night there. And that was actually supposed to be the last Urgehal thing, and that's it. But then now when we got closer to 10 years since Tronder passed away, Ensifer, he started talking that it could have been good, like a good honor thing, memorial thing to bring Urgehal back for a 10 years anniversary, to hail his memory and to breathe live in all good songs. And we all thought that was a good idea, because like I say, it's a lot of people having a good relation to the songs and the history of the band, and personally I think that's the best way to honor his memory, of course, to roll on and make his music live out there. And I'm sure Tronder would love to hear his songs smashing out of the high speakers on festivals and stuff, instead of just being, eventually more and more forgotten. And so then there was the decision to roll on to do some gigs in this 10 years anniversary year. And then I guess it was naturally, Ensifer asked us around, the closest friend in the circle that have been close to the band. So it was me and Northgrove from Beastcraft. So we did the vocals. So actually we do the split vocals. We split the show. So we have a half set each to make a diversity in the songs and in the set. We are a little bit different type of vocalist, so I think that brings like a cool mix into it, like with a diversity in the energy of the set. So, and that works out well for us. Like we are a bunch of close friends, and so then it feels natural. So that was the way. Started out with few concerts, few festivals, and it turned out to be awesome, and a very good response. And then also it was this fuck up after the pandemic. So everything was planned, but then still it was hard to arrange and book things, and the thing was like sticking in the glue. And also we thought that when we first do this 1 year, and then everything was like in syrup, because of the pandemic. So then when we first started, of course, every festival start asking for Urgehal, and then when they saw Urgehal was back into the fire, then was rolling in with offers. So then we figure out, since it was this little bit halfway this year due to the COVID, we just decided to make it like 1 more year, to make it proper how it was supposed to be planned in the first way. So now the decision is that we roll on for 2023. So now the train keeps on running. So we see how it goes from there.
In your opinion, how many things are changing in the black metal scene when you have started from today? And how exact was the black metal thematic about, Satanism, paganism, and all thematics when black metal talk nowadays?
I think everything has changed. It's like, in one way, it's just almost impossible to compare it, because in my eyes there are almost 2 different scenes. Of course it's a natural development from the earlier scene, where where it started. But back then it was also, that scene was also a development from something from before, you know, so everything developed. But I think that scene that was like from the early 90s to through that decade, that was a very unique thing, just like you had earlier on, you know, with when this punk thing came with the Sex Pistols and all, you know, that was like a fist in the face on the establishment, and that was just something completely new that for the rest of the world was unheard of, you know, that everything that happened, the music was kind of, you're making a new genre, and you know, you have the imagery, the everything behind it, the mentality, the extremity, you know, it was to a different level, and so we can't compare that today at all. So I think today, you know, that was back then like a whole new scene, like a new shit, like a new thing. But now I don't think you say you compare to today, but it's not a new scene now. It's just like for me, in my eyes, it's just like a watered out scene from what once was, you know, back then. But if you look at it solely, like only on the music side, I think that will always develop. The music, the sound, everything, of course, that developed in. They are still bands in that genre. Still, of course, they get better musicians. They get the arrangement. They get better and everything, but still the soul and charisma and the extremity and the mentality and thing that was back then, that was something totally different. And like you say, the Satanism and everything that was back then, the Satanism, the mentality, the extremity just came, you know, was more important than the music itself. It didn't matter if you know, played the best guitar solos in the world or you had the biggest production. It was just like if you was behind what you did 150%, you know, and if you stood up to what you believed in and stick to your gun, you know, that was everything that matters back then. And now in my eyes, everything is like a more business thing today than it was back then. So in my eyes, it's just two different things, you know. So that's how I see it, at least.
Thank you for your time. Good luck for all future projects, and thank you again.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for the talk. Okay,
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.